Therefore, corporate governors usually recommend to have two different individuals. If you have one person doing the role of the chairman and CEO, there are enough companies even in Sri Lanka who are absolutely successful by having one person, doesn't matter. But then that individual got to understand there are two roles that got to be played by him. So as long as he can manage that, as long as he's playing it well, as long as the company understands that there are two different roles to be played by one individual, we are okay with it. There aren't any rules available as such. It's just the guidelines of how you can perform better, how you can manage your company better. So that's the basic theory of corporate governance. Now let's look at about your exam. Now let's look at your main priority of how to pass the exam using this knowledge. Step number 1. Don't concentrate too much of these steps, the elements of corporate governance, but see how they can be applied to a given case. One of the ways that I think about that examiner can test your knowledge is examiner will give you a case study and examiner will ask you to identify the corporate governance issues within the case study. Or examiner will ask you to will give you the details about a company, and examiner will request you to go and establish best corporate governance roles, guidelines within the organization. So now you will see the difference. Difference of knowing what the steps are and memorizing the sub-steps of each one is different to applying it. So whenever you take a case, you must be able to read it carefully and identify whether they have strong corporate governance or weak. If they do have weak corporate governance, rules, procedures, you must be able to implement, recommend them. So that's about corporate governance. We'll be back after a quick break. Thank you. Welcome. Risk and control in information technology. That's our next discussion point. Risk and control in information technology. If you look at IT, it has changed companies now. Many people argue all the companies have invested too much in IT in response to the benefits that have been gained, that have been received by the organization. That's a global complaint. However, fact remains, IT is playing a major role within the organization. We cannot live without that. We depend on IT. The complaint is too much, but we depend on IT to a great extent in any organization in today's business. So it's critical for us to look at what are the risks involved in the IT process, information technology process, and find methods to minimize those risks. Again, when I say minimize, you need to minimize the impact of the event, and you should try to minimize the likelihood of the event as well. Now, before we go into the risk of IT, let's look at the basic concepts of IT. The basic concept is you need to manage the data of the organization. You need to convert data to information. Data is a form where you cannot take decision. The information is a form where you can use for the decision making of the organization. So in this process, there are three main technologies that are available. There are three main strategies that are available. The first one is you as an organization got to decide what information to be collected. The information overload is a serious complaint in today's business. And maybe the key information is actually not looked at. So we got to decide what information to be seen. That decision needs to be based on your strategic planning. That decision needs to be based on what you're going to do in your future. So as an organization, we need to decide what information should be gathered and what information we should be reviewing. Maybe look at efficiency. You need to decide, are you going to look at it daily, are you going to look at it weekly, or are you going to look at it monthly? You need to decide, are we going to look at the data stage analysis, yes or no? Are we going to look at the financial feasibility of our customers, whether they are doing financially well or not? Are we going to look at yes or no? If you look at organizations, they too much depend on internal information and quite less interest due to something about the external information, like how your customers doing, like which country is doing better. Now, that is the balance that we got to have. We got to decide what information that we are going to collect. Second, we got to decide a technology that you are going to use to collect that information. In simple terms, you can have an Excel sheet. You can enter the details to the Excel sheet. That's one way of gathering information. Or you can go to the other extreme end of having an ERP. You can get one of the best ERPs available in the world, and that will be your information technology strategy. You need to decide what hardware, what software to be used with that. The third is how we are going to keep the information that we have gathered, and what is the policy for us to retrieve the information, who is going to retrieve, when, from where, and how we are going to use them for decision making. So those are three main elements that we need to take a decision about an organization. Again, get ready on the exam day to evaluate the IT strategy of an organization. You go and see, are they collecting right information for their business? Are they collecting enough external information for their business? Are they depending too much on the internal information? That's a call you got to make about a company. Are they using the right technology? Should they be using an ERP? Is it worth to spend that $3 million to get the information from the ERP? You need to take that decision. Then you need to decide whether they store the information well, and whether they retrieve the information at the right time for the right people within the right frequencies. So that's the basic concepts of IT. Then I would like to take a half a second maybe on the presentation of the information, which is another critical aspect of IT. Then we'll move on to the technical side of it. Now, we have periodic reports that we do, like the monthly accounts, like the sales analysis, like the customer profitability statement. Then we do summarized statements. Maybe we can do a quick briefing book where you have nice charts, the summarized information. So we can have periodic reports like profit and loss account, or we can have a briefing book. Briefing book is maybe a one-page summary with many diagrams on it, nice presentation, summarized presentation. But they are the history. The best now is to have a dashboard. Dashboard is a computer screen which is customized to the specific requirements of the user. Whenever you enter your password, the system will decide the person that is going to come into the system, and the system will give the information in one page, the information that this particular person would like to see on daily basis. So dashboard accuracy is very high. Unlike in the other statement, in the dashboard, you're not going to enter any details for the dashboard. Dashboard will pick data from your ERP direct. As long as the information given in your ERP are correct, you'll be seeing the same information on the dashboard. So dashboard is the latest technology, right? So that's about a little bit of theory on this particular topic. But now let's move on to the specific areas. One of the common area the examiner will keep on giving questions is ERP implementation. Being a management accountant, it's not required for you to know the technicals of the ERP implementation, but you got to appreciate the involvement of the management accountant in the ERP implementation process. You got to ensure proper controls are there in the ERP. And any ERP implementation is a game with people. You got to ensure you get involved the people who are going to use it at the day one, from the day one, unless they won't be happy with the product that you are going to come out with. So we need to ensure any ERP implementation goes with the people who are going to use a system. Well, they are the customers. As far as the ERP implementation is concerned, users are the customers, no one else. The board of directors who paid the money, they are not the customers. The customers are the people who are going to use it. They are the consumers, so you've got to ensure they are happy with the product. Now, in any ERP implementation, the first few steps would be a feasibility study, a system design. You need to come and see do a basic feasibility study and justify that we need to have a better system. Then you need to do a detailed feasibility study about the organization, about the system, how we work. This point is absolutely critical. This is the point where you see how organization works and ask the critical question, is it how we should be working? You go and document how organization works. You go and document the entire process of the organization. But you got to ask the critical question, is it right? Is it the right process? The people within the organization might not really see it. The people within the organization might really see what they do as the best method, because that's what they have been doing for the last 30, 40 years. So we got to get a team with the people who are doing it, with the operational team, and with the people who has a better understanding about how things done in the rest of the world. We need to go through and ensure what the best practices are. That best practices is the one that got to be used in developing your ERP. The ERP will never give an answer for you to do the things in the same way that you have been doing. The ERP should tell you, look here, this is how you got to do it. Right? So that's the initial stage. Then in the ERP implementation, the next critical stage is you design the system. You design the system, then you come up with the system and you come up with a system for the UATs, user acceptance test. User acceptance test. We call them UATs. What do you mean by UATs? UATs is the users will come in and say, look here, I have written 100 tests. These tests have been written to see if your system is working properly or not. So you write the test and you take the system that had been written, the draft system, and you run the test and see whether you get the answer that you want. Let me take a simple example. Let's say buyer profitability calculation. In the buyer profitability calculation, you have a certain method to allocate overhead. So you run a test to see, you write the example to see this is the profit of the buyer, this is the sales of the buyer, this is the total overhead, this is how I want to allocate. And you do it manually and see how much is the value of overhead that needs to be allocated for this particular buyer. Right? Then you do the test in the new system that you got. And you get the final outcome of the system, compare that with the answer that you already got from your earlier system or manually calculated. So that is what you call user acceptance test. So